Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Attention Zone. I'm happy to have with me someone that spent her whole career in media in different roles. Annie Krukowska in London, I think.
Yes,
Ciao,
in
Annie.
London, in south of London, the epicenter of media.
So let's talk about what you did in the last few years or many years in media. I know you went through quite a lot of companies, and so you have a lot of different experience to tell.
Yeah, so I was quite lucky. I count myself very lucky. I always was the sort of at the cutting edge of change or innovation. And yes, I've been around, showing my age now. I started my career at Microsoft Advertising before programmatic and CTV was even the thing. We didn't call TV addressable even. That came later when I was part of at Smart with Sky, very early stages. BBC Studios. I played with VR and AR. Ran BBC Labs, so very, very deep in innovation. But also my favorite project I have ever done, and I met amazing people, was launching BBC Store. I set up the whole operating model, work with product, and the launch of the venture inside big business. That wasn't subscription. That was around the time when Netflix sort of was started biting at our feet. But BBC Store was the commercial version of iPlayer, the old-fashioned and the good, well, maybe not old-fashioned, but the good old EST model. So, you can buy the piece of content and keep it forever, although the forever lasted only a couple of years. So I also launched the first ever product placement in the UK with ITV, working with Ofcom, and the whole ITV digital media and sales department was really an incredible experience. I ran a couple of accelerators in my life, so BBC Labs and for IMG Arena and IMG Media, so accelerator focusing on sports data and fan engagement. I should probably stop there. I'm showing my age for sure, but I built quite a lot of innovative products in this industry, always at the cutting edge. I'm hoping that the natural transition to run my own business and showing that now I'm helping my employers or ex-employers, now customers, to build what comes next in TV.
Fantastic. And what about the subscription business in streaming? What's your view on that? I know
yes,
we're almost at a mature stage now, no? So
it's an interest. I think it is an interesting what is happening in terms of monetization and monetization formats and opportunities in TV. And I'm a firm believer that subscription is here to stay, although I was super excited when Netflix introduced advertising and the different subscription tiers. But I think I don't know what you think, but I think that we're becoming, coming into danger of subscription, only people who can't afford a subscription are going to see ads. So I think a subscription is going to fragment the way how we understand it into different sort of tiers and different formats and different commercial innovation products. So otherwise we'll be only advertising to people who can't afford pay ads, and that's not necessarily what brands want. So I'm actually quite excited about what streamers and content owners will come up with, because there is a room for innovation. I mean, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I see it from. I've used to work for a company that work with big sport brands and developing and designing and launching and managing big global streaming platforms. And I think it was fascinating. So to be honest, I'm coming from the digital world where people wouldn't pay, or they would be served apps or ads, etc. But being in front of paying customer, it changes the game. So the rationale of any decision, even at product level or business model level, you have paying customers in front of you. And anything you do, you also kind of create a form of stronger respect for the user on the other side of the screen. and everything becomes more rational. Not saying that we always do rational decision in product, but I think it is. I really liked it going in this world of understanding what a paying customer means.
Yes, it makes huge difference. I mean, even at the basic level, working with small company startups as part of my running the BBC Labs. I remember people, the sort of entrepreneurs, when they realize that actually they're building a product that somebody will pay for, and the sort of mindset shift from changing from ask your customer would they like it versus would they pay for it. That just completely changes the way how you think about your product. In this case, we're talking about content, because I think that I'm fundamentally of belief, having a background in product, is that we need to think about our content catalog as a portfolio of products that we should monetize. But yeah, the moment they pay, the expectations is different. We need to guarantee a certain level of experience. Otherwise, they will go somewhere else. And now with the vast amount of content online just forget the standard streamers, but even the fast channels and the sort of the fight over eyeballs and attention, they can go anywhere else. So I firmly believe that we also need to preserve the experience and what I like to call TV of magic, the magic of TV rather, for the audiences, but also for brands. So the brands and advertisers, because at the moment I feel that it's
absolutely one thing that is happening is that's why this channel exists. People are churning. Churn has become what in the last 5 years, a word that everybody's using. So what have you seen happening in your observation? And I know there are many recipes, and we know Netflix is doing better than others, but what are you think the top 3 strategies to avoid churn or retain customer?
I think that we come back to the good old-fashioned experience of TV. Everybody's suffering with attention deficit. That's why we broadcasters and streamers trying to compete with Instagram, with YouTube, with shorts, with micro dramas coming. So we need to build for that, build and create for that. The attention is changing. Changed already. The generation who's watching what we call TV, or what we used to call TV, it's on different platforms to the sort of traditional platforms. So we talk, at MIP, we talked a lot. The whole MIP was about YouTube and creators economy, or some call this affinity economy, with content. With creators themselves. There's almost a strange discussion about what is TV, when really I don't think that it matters. When people argue is YouTube TV, it's like, doesn't matter. That's what people enjoy watching. That's the experience that those creators, that those platforms manage to tap into. And the question to the rest of us and some of us who argue is it TV or not, is like, what do you want to be in front of those audiences or not? So find out what it is that they want, what is that they're engaged with, the formats, the length, the platform, the time of the day and night, the characters, and also the nature of the content that they like. So we've got micro dramas making a dramatic dent in the attention that otherwise maybe would go to big screen and broadcasters. We've got YouTube and creators. So I think that the strategy is the good old-fashioned understand what your audiences want. Get it finally that their taste and their viewing habits evolved. It's a different generation of audiences. Don't think about your audiences in terms of demographics. although that helps, I guess, because we've been through so many changes in the world that people consume and understand the world differently depending on age. So that, we cannot throw it away completely. But there are different watching habits across the demographics, across the ages. I watch only YouTube, and I'm definitely not the Gen Z. I watch, I doom scroll, or as it's called, although I think it is a very entertainment part of my life on my mobile. And, I'm a almost middle-aged woman, so demographics don't cut anymore. So retention and attention, understanding of attention needs to change as well.
And in terms of, obviously now there is a lot of discussion and I'm sure at Cannes there was a lot of discussion about AI. And for the moment, let's not talk about content, how content is impacted, but more, do you think that AI can really not only impact the way content is recommended or personalized, but also the way we understand fans? Like you were saying, we need to, but there is so much data now. I mean, you can really have sensor in video players. I mean, we know a lot about fans in different ways. Do you think AI can be really a game changer or just a little help in understanding the fans and so retaining fans because I can then be creating in the way I communicate, in the way that my app works, etc., etc.?
I think that there wasn't enough talk about AI at MIPCOM, but I suppose, it's only so much we can pack in 2 days, and it was a fabulous event, that's for sure. I think that AI and the change that this brings to the content owners, the catalog owners and streamers, and perhaps to content especially, and I'm not talking about Gen AI, the whole change, it's a little bit underestimated. I don't think a penny has dropped. When you think about the content discoverability, with AI and the way how, again, audiences are going and tell us, they're going to teach us how the world of TV should evolve, because we as audiences will start using AI agents and chatbots more often than not to resurface ideas for what to watch. And and AI understands the meaning of content. It doesn't understand necessarily a text-based metadata. If I'm as a user, as an audience, sitting on the Friday afternoon, and I'll put in the ChatGPT, or let's say one of the OSs got the AI search based on AI, which I think the Google started doing it. I will enter a semantic prompt. I would say, find me something with a lot of banter that I'm going to enjoy and not be embarrassed when watching with my teenage sons. What is this going to resurface now? Because majority of catalogs will be invisible. So even things like that, like the AI understanding of content, the semantic discovery of it, I think it just didn't sink in. And that's what is, I think, coming sooner than we think. Which, again, it comes down to experience. The audiences will have a rubbish experience resurfacing something which they really want to watch, and will end up carry on scrolling through the carousels on the UI, on the TV OSs. Until it's pick up with how we want to consume content. But gosh, I could carry on. I've got a whole series on the real cases of AI in TV, because I think it is really underestimated. The one which I'm really, if we have time, think also about, like, people are nervous about cookies and then and the ad blockers. But think about if I, as an audience, as the end users, I've got an AI agent as a gatekeeper to what I see. I don't even care about, tweaking my ad blocker. My AI agent knows not to show me anything which is not from the sustainable brand, which is, I'm not interested in particular subject. I basically can filter out. So content and advertising. So how are we going to negotiate with individual agents? I'm suddenly potentially in charge and in control of what the brands and content can show me. Obviously, there will be some loops, and we will not be in control. But
yes, in the end, no. Maybe for a moment, and then they will find a way to avoid that.
Exactly.
One thing that I wanted to ask you, as we talk about creators, and I don't want to call it a trend because it's few signals I've seen. I've seen like top creators started to launch their own, let's call it app or OTT, which normally when they do it, it's not only OTT. So instead of saying, okay, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitch, I'm here, I'm there, I have 3-4 examples I wrote about it. Creators creating their own OTT app, which normally is more. They maybe sell merchandising. So to have more, when they big enough that they can have really the affinities there, the loyalty start to be there. Do you see a future for this, or is just people experimenting? Yeah. If you have an opinion.
I mean, the big successful creators, they are no longer individuals in the spare room with a little webcam. They are media companies. They are multi-million, or maybe even more, businesses. So why wouldn't they be on the not just on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok? They've got every right to be as on the OS, or the TV OS, or streaming. Soon, I mean, recently we saw Netflix doing deals of partnership or sort of collaboration with TF1 and a couple of others.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't have they channels from Mr. Beast? That's what people watch. But so yes, absolutely. You see, they are just the new media companies. They are new broadcasters. Well, I wouldn't call them broadcasters, but they are the content that people want to watch and watch.
And I think it's also
this is where also advertising budgets go. So they have every right. They earned it, every right to be on the big screen alongside Netflix's and others.
And maybe they also have advantage to come from an angle or a story where they deeply understand their fan base or their cult sometimes. So maybe the fact that the way they will retain customers, it's different from people that have to learn how to do it, because many of these companies were B2B. Forget for a moment the Netflix. So going D2C, it's very, and I know you've gone through in your career, it's very, very difficult if you come from a B2B background, selling channels or purely ad-based. It's really difficult. So these people came from, I have a little fan base of 100 people, then they become 1,000, then they become 1 million. So they always had the direct relationship. So even if they become a subscription business, they have an advantage, I think, apart from being the thing that people want to watch, blah, blah, blah. But this could fade easily. I think they have a different advantage, I guess. So it's
the advantage also they have that before they became big, before they hit the algorithmic heaven with millions of followers.
I love it.
They had multiple of what we call multivariate testing, A/B testing. What works, what didn't work, what video, the snippets. And what is the beautiful thing about those platforms? You can test it real time, overnight. You are a creator. You know how it works. I started recently, putting more content on LinkedIn and on YouTube. I've got my channel as well. And we can see exactly what worked, and, we can test it. So that's the huge mind shift with the big content producers and content owners and broadcasters. It's spot on, exactly what you said, is that understanding your audiences. And think about how the commissioning used to work. You have the treatment document, you pitch to a commissioner, to this person who's this alpha and omega, knowing what the channel strategy and what are the audiences that they want to target and who watches this particular linear channel. And you commission content, and it takes years. By that time, audiences moved on. These guys, they can. We can test this podcast and cut it in so many different ways and test what works before we actually publish on your channel. It's fantastic. So it's a huge mindset change. But also think about the size of the organizations built around the big, cinematic, big screen TV, dramas. And now you've got a guy with a camera. But there are media organizations now, and the very successful ones.
So tell me what you're doing now.
Oh, what I'm doing now. So I'm founder of annimoIQ. It's been almost a year. We help TV platforms and content owners unlock the real growth. So we work in the sort of intersection of commercial innovation, strategy, and product. So my product background doesn't want to leave me alone. So
Same.
And we also thrive on execution because I felt that there are enough consultants out there and market commentaries. And I actually launched products into a market, and that's the exciting part for me and for my little team. And but we achieve growth through a few very distinctive, what I like to call pillars. So tailored insight on demand. So yes, the entry level to our expertise is actually a monthly subscription to insight and strategy. They give us a specific brief, and then within a couple of weeks, we give back the tailored answers and strategy, or whatever the question was. We focus on commercial innovation and monetization formats, or as I like to call them, products. So beyond CPMs. So that's another podcast about programmatic and how I feel about the whole thing. And then we also deliver operational efficiencies and optimization, and that could include building AI agents or automations, but only when it makes sense. I hate when people come to me and say, "Can you build me an AI, data lake and AI?" It's like, what is it that you try to achieve? So that's
always a good question. That's always a good question in any case.
AI allows us to, if thought through properly, it's not a tool. It's just the way of thinking, the sort of, end-to-end thinking about your system and designing AI to help you to accelerate it rather than just automate bits that you think that you need to automate. Ask yourself whether you even need those bits of process. Don't try to automate them with AI.
So one question that I always like to ask is how many subscriptions you have, if you know, because the problem is now maybe you don't anymore.
I do know, and it's embarrassing answer. One. I subscribe to Netflix. I know. I subscribe to Netflix. I obsessively watch YouTube. Even my dog watches YouTube. It's called Doggy TV. I suppose I've got a BBC license in the UK. We need to have it. That's the most expensive subscription, but I'm a news junkie, so I love BBC News, Netflix, and YouTube. That's it.
You're quite unique. I think people used to now have a lot, and sometimes, like me, I need to have a little app I built to remember because I also go to software and AI tools now. So I don't know if you have anything beyond that, which becomes difficult to manage. I don't know how much I'm spending monthly.
No, the SaaS subscriptions, it's a different story.
Okay.
I'm probably 20.
Okay.
That's bad, but TV and content, just the ones I mentioned. But yes, everything is subscription based now.
And when do you? So if you ever, because sometimes I feel guilty that I didn't. When is the decision for you to churn and close one subscription? Is it money, not using it? What is the process?
Not using it. I find this very frustrating when I cannot find anything interesting to watch. I think I'm just maybe a bit odd one. I think YouTube and all the podcasts on technology and AI and founders, now I'm an entrepreneur myself. This is what I'm interested in, plus the news and the current affairs. So I very rarely watch, dramas or series. Yes, I don't watch TV, the sort of entertainment TV. I don't watch sport. I love sport, but I love live sport. So yes, I think that I'm probably not the sort of typical sweet spot. But Netflix just got enough.
Right.
me.
And it clearly, I mean, that's something that now it's obvious. But I remember years ago, people were fighting me on that engagement. If you don't engage with something, either you forget that you're paying, or obviously engagement is like number one priority to keep people
Yes.
using your product.
I think the forgetting that you pay is just such a beauty of subscription. Centuries ago, when I was at BBC Labs, there was this startup, blockchain startup. I'm talking like more than 10 years ago. They were ahead of their time. They were allowing to pay for what for minutes that you watch. Instead of subscription, the people could pay, the Bitcoin, a fraction of it, for a page of a catalog that they read, for whatever is the lowest denominator. I remember taking them to one of the major newspapers in the UK. I will not name the names, the one with a very expensive subscription. And they told me, it's like, this is fantastic, but why would we do that? Because
exactly.
Yeah, we've got subscribers, and we don't care even if they consume. Okay, I'm sure they do care, but yes, when we forget about subscription, that's brilliant, because the money still goes.
Va bene.
Va bene, grazie mille.
Grazie, Annie. Thank you for doing this.
Pleasure. Thank you.